So Prague is one of my favorite places that I've been. I went last year when I was going on an Alma Waterways river cruise, and I was really totally excited about going there first. We spent 3 days in advance in Prague, and um, I was just totally excited about it. It was one of those places that I felt so safe and comfortable as a woman traveling on my own. Um, my husband didn't go on this trip with me, and I went and brought about 12 or so other people with me. And I just went and walked all around Prague. I found my own way, and I enjoyed all of the local delicacies. The nightlife was great, and I ran into my friend Sherry from the U.S. She was going on a Viking River cruise the opposite way, so she ended in Prague where I began in Prague. So it was two single women out and about one night in Prague, and we had the best Pilsner beer, and two Americans just hanging out, drinking a beer in Prague. It was really great. So the astronomical clock was one of those things that I just really looked forward to seeing and learning about. And the astronomical clock has tons of history behind it. So it actually dates back to, I think, 1500, and it was this really interesting clock that the people of the town actually cut out the eyes of the clockmaker because they didn't ever want him to make another clock like this again. And there were people of the town who were positioned during every war to protect the clock, the astronomical clock, because it was such an important feature of Prague. So that was the one thing I could not wait to see. And it was really neat. It goes around by the time and astronomy, and it just really, really intricately put together and one of the most amazing features. So the astronomical clock was one of my favorite things to see, as well as Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge was just really fascinating. Fascinating to see the people out on it between the morning when the dew is settling and the fog is rising, and then to see the sunset over Charles Bridge at night. It's got all of these statues. They're religious statues, but Prague is primarily an atheist or agnostic area. So it's really interesting because there's hundreds of churches and religious statues throughout all of Prague, yet the majority of the people who live there are agnostic or atheist in general. So they either don't believe in God whatsoever, or they believe in a higher power, but they don't call it anything in particular. So I find that really interesting because it is very Christian oriented, or Catholic actually, primarily, and most of the people today are not. So if you are going for your history or religious history, it's really interesting to see. But Charles Bridge has tons of religious statues, and the people on Charles Bridge are really interesting as well. There's tons of local artisans and musicians and craft people. So Charles Bridge and the astronomical clock were two of my favorites. So this is a picture. Let's see if it will focus. Of the astronomical clock. I actually brought back, it's a painting. But that was, that's kind of what it looks like. That's a painting of it. But I loved it. I loved it, and that just kind of was one of the starts of a really awesome trip for me, going to Prague, and then we made our way onto Nuremberg, where we boarded our Ama Waterways Ama Dolce and made our way down the rivers of Germany and ended in Paris. So that's it.